The rumor that refused to die. Offset thought the Chrisean Rock rumor had finally burned itself out, but the moment a deadly shooting, a disputed paternity claim, and an unresolved investigation collided, his name came roaring back into the headlines. The story begins with a young man known publicly as Ronnie Doe, a former boyfriend from Chrisean's past, who had spent months insisting that he, not Blueface, might be the biological father of her son. His claims were loud, public, and impossible to ignore. He demanded a DNA test, confronted Chrisean in public, and repeatedly framed the dispute as a father fighting for the right to know the truth. Then everything changed. Ronnie was shot outside a residence in Maryland. Authorities treated the death as a homicide and reportedly believed the attack was targeted rather than random. No publicly confirmed motive immediately explained why he was killed, and no official evidence connected Chrisean, Blueface, Offset, or anyone else in their circle to the crime. But online, facts and theories quickly became tangled together. Ronnie had been publicly demanding answers about paternity. Days after his death, DNA documents appeared online, reportedly identifying Blueface as the father. Instead of ending the controversy, the timing only made people ask more questions. Why were the results released then? Why had they apparently existed for so long? Were they complete, authentic, and properly understood? That uncertainty created the perfect environment for old scandals to return. And one of the biggest was the allegation that Chrisean had once been involved with Offset while he was still married to Cardi B, an accusation Offset had already denied. Now, 3 separate controversies were being pulled into one explosive narrative: a homicide investigation, a paternity war, and an alleged affair involving one of hip-hop's most recognizable couples. But the darkest part of the story is not the rumor. It is the fact that a young man is dead. His case remains unresolved, and everyone around him is being judged by an internet audience that often reaches conclusions before investigators do. Where are you watching from right now? Comment 1 if you believe the internet is connecting unrelated scandals. Or comment 2 if you think the timing raises real questions. Subscribe to the channel, because the next chapter reveals how one public confrontation turned Ronnie from a forgotten ex into the center of a national controversy. The paternity fight goes public. Long before Ronnie's death became a headline, his demand for a DNA test had already transformed a private relationship into public entertainment. Ronnie claimed that he and Chrisean had been involved during a period that could have overlapped with the timeline of her pregnancy. According to the claims he made online, he believed there was enough uncertainty to justify a formal test. He did not present the issue as gossip. He presented it as a personal battle over identity, responsibility, and fatherhood. His message was simple: if the child was not his, a DNA test would prove it. That argument attracted attention because doubt had already surrounded the child's paternity. Blueface had questioned whether he was the father during the pregnancy, although a test shown publicly was later presented as confirmation. Even then, confusion remained. Different statements, changing claims, and social media commentary prevented the issue from reaching a clean ending. Ronnie understood that uncertainty gave his story an audience. He continued posting. He claimed he deserved answers. He spoke as though he had been denied access to the truth. The more he talked, the more people began treating the dispute like a developing series, rather than a family matter involving a child. Then the conflict moved offline. Ronnie reportedly approached Chrisean while she was out with her son. Video from the encounter spread rapidly. He referred to the child as though he believed the boy was his. While Chrisean attempted to shield her son and challenged Ronnie's presence, their exchange became heated, and police were reportedly called. That moment changed the public perception of the story. Before the confrontation, Ronnie was an ex, making claims on social media. Afterward, he became a visible figure in the ongoing Chrisean and Blueface saga. His face, voice, and accusations were now attached to the controversy. Supporters saw a man demanding proof. Critics saw someone crossing personal boundaries. Others believed the entire encounter should never have happened in front of a child. No matter which interpretation people chose, the confrontation ensured one thing: if anything ever happened to Ronnie, the public would immediately revisit the paternity dispute. And when he was later killed, that is exactly what happened. a targeted attack and an information vacuum. The word that changed the entire tone of the story was targeted, when authorities reportedly indicated that Ronnie's shooting did not appear random. Social media users began searching his public life for possible motives. The paternity battle was the most visible conflict many people knew about, so it quickly became the center of online speculation. But visibility is not proof. A public disagreement can make someone look connected to a tragedy without establishing any real involvement. Investigators had not publicly identified a suspect, and the existence of a paternity dispute did not automatically explain a homicide. Still, the absence of official answers created a vacuum. When police do not immediately reveal a motive, witnesses, suspects, or arrests, online audiences often begin constructing their own timelines. Every post becomes evidence. Every silence becomes suspicious. Every delayed response is treated like a confession. Chrisean's initial public silence became part of the story. Some people question why she did not immediately speak about the death of a man she had reportedly known for years. Others argue that grief does not follow a schedule and that silence can be a form of shock, privacy, or self-protection. Then the DNA results appeared. Documents were reportedly posted through an account connected to Chrisean's son, showing Blueface as the biological father. The results were presented as an answer to the debate Ronnie had forced into public view. But instead of closing the case in the court of public opinion, the post created an even larger controversy. Social media users focused on the dates. They questioned why results apparently connected to an earlier test were being emphasized immediately after Ronnie's death. Some claimed the paperwork looked suspicious or incomplete. Others said the criticism was unfair, and that the results simply confirmed what had already been established. No verified public evidence showed that the DNA post had anything to do with the shooting, yet the timing was emotionally powerful enough to reshape the entire narrative. A man publicly asked for proof. He died. Then proof appeared. That sequence was all the internet needed to turn a tragic criminal investigation into a sprawling celebrity mystery, even though the most important facts remained unknown. The document that created more questions, the DNA document, was supposed to end the paternity debate. Instead, it became one of the most disputed pieces of the story. To supporters of Chrisean and Blueface, the result was straightforward. It reportedly named Blueface as the father and contradicted Ronnie's public claim. From that perspective, the argument was over. But critics were not convinced. Some viewers examined the sample dates and questioned why the paperwork had not been used earlier to silence the controversy. Others claimed the document's wording or online status created uncertainty about whether the process had been finalized. Those interpretations spread rapidly across gossip pages, reaction channels, and comment sections. It is important to separate what was shown from what was proven. A document circulated publicly, people interpreted it in different ways. Some called it confirmation. Others called it questionable. Without independent verification from the testing provider or a court record accessible to the public, online audiences were left debating screenshots rather than reviewing a complete chain of evidence. Blueface's own history with the paternity issue made the situation even more confusing. At different moments, he had expressed doubts, accepted results, and participated in public discussion that kept uncertainty alive. His manager later added another layer by reportedly questioning whether Ronnie's claim might still deserve attention. That reaction prevented the DNA reveal from delivering the finality Chrisean may have wanted. The argument was no longer simply about who the father was. It became a debate over which tests people trusted, which statements they believed, and who benefited from each version of the story. Meanwhile, Ronnie could no longer defend his claim or explain what evidence he believed supported it. That absence gave his earlier posts greater emotional weight. Every demand for a test was replayed as though it had been a final warning. Every public confrontation was re-examined for hidden meaning. Every person who had argued with him became part of a timeline assembled by strangers. But the criminal investigation still required real evidence, not viral interpretation. The danger was that the paternity story had become so dramatic that people began treating it as an explanation for the homicide, without any confirmed link. And once that idea spread, Chrisean's every action was viewed through suspicion. Then a member of her own family made comments that pushed the speculation into even darker territory. When family comments become public evidence, The internet can dismiss criticism from strangers, but accusations feel different when they appear to come from inside a family. Months after Ronnie's death, comments attributed to Chrisean's sister were interpreted by many viewers as a possible insinuation that Chrisean knew more than she had publicly revealed. The remarks were not a formal accusation, and they did not establish involvement in any crime, but online audiences treated them like a hidden message from someone close to the situation. That interpretation spread faster than any clarification. Reaction pages clipped the most dramatic moments. Commentators analyzed facial expressions, pose, and tone. People with no access to the investigation began treating family tension as evidence. Chrisean later pushed back. She spoke about her long history with Ronnie, explaining that they had known each other from a young age and had reportedly dated during their teenage years. She described his death as a genuine personal loss, not simply a scandal attached to her name. Her response introduced a side of the story that had been buried beneath the rumors. Ronnie was not only a man demanding a DNA test, he was someone connected to her past, memories, and adolescence. Whatever conflict existed between them before his death, their history was deeper than the viral clips suggested. Chrisean also appeared hurt by the idea that a sister could say something publicly that placed her under suspicion. Her reaction suggested that the family conflict was not limited to one interview. It reflected years of tension, mistrust, and unresolved resentment. For viewers, however, emotional complexity did not reduce suspicion. It increased it. Some people believed Chrisean's grief was sincere. Others interpreted every emotional statement as image management. Even a story she reportedly shared about dreaming of Ronnie before his death became material for speculation. To some listeners, the dream reflected grief and an intense emotional connection. To others, it sounded unusual enough to feed their existing theories. That is how online narratives become almost impossible to escape. Once a person is placed at the center of suspicion, innocence and grief can both be reinterpreted as guilt. Still, no public charge, arrest, or confirmed investigative finding established that Chrisean was connected to Ronnie's death. The family comments created headlines. They did not create proof. Yet while Chrisean was defending herself against one controversy, Blueface revived another allegation, one that pulled Offset and Cardi B back into the chaos. Blueface drags Offset back into the fire. The Offset rumor began long before Ronnie's death, but it returned at the exact moment. Chrisean's name was already surrounded by controversy. Blueface had publicly accused Chrisean of being involved with Offset, while Offset was still married to Cardi B. The allegation included enough supposed detail to make it feel specific. But specificity does not make a claim true. Offset responded quickly and directly. He denied ever having a physical or personal relationship with Chrisean and suggested Blueface needed help. He attached his denial to the accusation itself, making it clear he was not attempting to hide from the rumor. Under normal circumstances, that might have ended the story. But Offset's marriage was already under intense public scrutiny. He and Cardi B had reportedly unfollowed each other online, and years of relationship rumors had made audiences ready to believe almost any new allegation. The timing made Blueface's claim more damaging than the evidence behind it. People did not see only an accusation and a denial. They saw a troubled celebrity marriage, a controversial rapper making a highly specific allegation, and a woman whose name was already attached to constant drama. Chrisean's early responses did little to settle the issue. Rather than delivering one immediate, detailed denial, she appeared at times to avoid the question or redirect the conversation. That evasiveness became part of the rumor's survival mechanism. Fans replayed interviews and claimed her tone suggested she was hiding something. Years later, when the allegation resurfaced, Chrisean denied it more directly and accused Blueface of using the story for attention. That shift became another debate. Some viewers argued that a stronger denial showed she was finally tired of the rumor. Others questioned why her earlier responses had seemed less direct. Offset, meanwhile, maintained the same position. The alleged relationship did not happen. There was no publicly verified evidence proving the affair allegation, no confirmed messages, photographs, hotel records, or independent witnesses established the claim as fact. Yet the rumor remained powerful because it connected three enormous names: Offset, Cardi B, and Chrisean Rock. Once Blueface revived it during a period when Chrisean was already facing questions about Ronnie's death and the DNA controversy. The allegation became attached to a much darker news cycle. Offset was no longer simply denying an affair, rumored. His name was appearing beside headlines about an unresolved homicide, even though he had no publicly established connection to the criminal case. 3 scandals become one internet story. By this point, 3 separate stories had merged into one chaotic public narrative. The first was the paternity dispute. Ronnie claimed he might be the father of Chrisean's son. Chrisean and Blueface pointed to DNA results indicating otherwise. The second was Ronnie's death. He was killed in a shooting, reportedly treated as a targeted homicide, with no publicly announced resolution, immediately settling the case. The third was the Offset allegation. Blueface claimed Chrisean had been involved with Offset, while Offset and Chrisean denied it, on paper. These controversies were separate. Offset had no publicly established connection to Ronnie. The affair rumor did not prove anything about the paternity dispute. The paternity dispute did not prove a motive for murder. The murder investigation did not validate the affair claim. But social media rarely respects those boundaries because Chrisean was connected to all 3 stories. Her name became the bridge that fused them together. Every time one controversy resurfaced, the others followed. A podcast about Blueface revived the Offset rumor. A discussion about Ronnie's death brought back the DNA test. A family interview revived speculation about the homicide. A post about Chrisean's son reopened the paternity debate. This constant recycling made the entire saga appear more interconnected than the verified facts supported. Offset's role remained narrow. He denied the affair claim and attempted to move on. He did not publicly position himself as a witness in Ronnie's case. He did not provide commentary about the paternity dispute. He did not claim knowledge of the shooting. Still, gossip pages repeatedly used his name because it increased attention. Cardi B's name was also pulled into the story. Even though the controversy centered on an allegation about her marriage, rather than any action attributed to her, her celebrity made the rumor more valuable. For Chrisean, the damage was broader. She was simultaneously framed as a grieving former partner, a mother defending her child's paternity, a woman accused of an affair, a sister caught in public conflict, and the subject of unverified homicide theories. No single public response could address all of those identities at once. If she spoke emotionally, critics called it manipulation. If she remained silent, they called it suspicious. If she posted documents, they questioned the documents. If she denied a rumor, they compared the denial to older interviews. The story had reached a point where public perception was no longer controlled by facts alone. It was controlled by repetition, and repetition can make an unproven claim feel true even when no new evidence has appeared. The danger of viral investigations. The darkest transformation in this saga was the moment entertainment audiences began acting like criminal investigators. Online communities created timelines, compared screenshots, studied interviews, and searched for contradictions. Some of that analysis raised reasonable questions. Much of it crossed into accusation without evidence. A targeted shooting naturally creates fear and curiosity. People want to know who ordered it, why it happened, and whether the victim's public disputes played a role. But a theory is not a finding. The fact that Ronnie demanded a DNA test did not establish that the dispute caused his death. The fact that Chrisean posted results after the shooting did not prove that she had hidden them for a criminal reason. The fact that family members had conflict did not prove insider knowledge. The fact that Blueface revived an affair rumor did not connect Offset to a homicide. The internet blurred all of those distinctions. Commenters openly predicted arrests. Some accused Chrisean of knowing the truth about Ronnie's paternity. Others suggested she or people around her benefited from his silence. These claims were emotionally explosive, but they were not supported by publicly confirmed investigative evidence. That kind of speculation can cause real harm. It can damage reputations, interfere with witnesses, spread misinformation, and redirect public attention away from the evidence law enforcement actually needs. It can also reduce a victim's life to a storyline used for views. Ronnie's death deserved more than becoming another chapter in celebrity drama. He was a real person with family, history, relationships, and unresolved questions surrounding his final moments. The paternity dispute may have been the reason many people knew his name, but it should not become the only lens through which his death is understood. Chrisean also became trapped in a public trial without formal charges. Whatever people thought of her past behavior, controversy is not evidence of homicide. Offset faced a different form of damage. A rumor he had denied repeatedly continued to follow him into stories that had nothing to do with him. His silence was framed as avoidance, while repeated denials were framed as proof that the story remained alive. Blueface benefited from the attention each revival created, but even his claims remained allegations, unless supported by evidence. The lesson was becoming clear. Once a celebrity scandal becomes connected to an unresolved crime, the internet stops waiting for answers and begins manufacturing them. That may be compelling content. It is not justice. What remains when the noise fades? After the rumors, accusation, reaction videos, and viral theories are stripped away, the core of the story remains painfully simple. A young man was killed. Authorities reportedly treated the shooting as a homicide and believed it was targeted. The public did not receive an immediate final answer about motive, suspect, or responsibility. Until investigators establish those facts, every theory linking the death to the paternity dispute remains unverified. The DNA controversy also remains emotionally unresolved. Documents were presented as proof that Blueface was the father, but public distrust prevented the result from ending the debate. Ronnie's supporters continued to believe he deserved an independent answer. Chrisean's supporters argued that the available testing had already settled the matter. Because Ronnie died before the controversy reached a conclusion, everyone accepted. The argument became frozen in time. Chrisean attempted to reshape her public image around motherhood, faith, reflection, and grief. She shared memories of Ronnie and described the loss as deeply personal. Yet every attempt to move forward was pulled backward by another interview, another accusation, or another interpretation of her past. Her relationship with her sister appeared strained by public remarks that many viewers considered damaging. Family wounds became content, and private distrust became entertainment. Blueface continued to revive old disputes, whether through his own statements or through people connected to his camp. Each revival renewed attention, but produced little clarity. Offset remained outside the central facts of the criminal investigation. His role began and ended with an allegation he repeatedly denied. Still, because his name carried enormous cultural weight, and because Cardi B's name amplified the stakes, the rumor refused to disappear. That is the final tension before the conclusion. The biggest headline may mention Offset. The most viral clips may feature Chrisean and Blueface. The most argued over screenshots may involve DNA documents, but the most important unresolved question has nothing to do with celebrity romance. Who killed Ronnie? And why? Until that question is answered through credible evidence, every other scandal remains a distraction, orbiting a real tragedy. The internet may continue choosing villains, defending favorites, and turning uncertainty into entertainment. But noise is not truth, and in the final chapter, the real issue is no longer who won the public argument. It is what this entire saga reveals about fame, grief, responsibility, and the human cost of turning unresolved pain into content, the truth beneath the chaos. The final lesson in this story is not about which celebrity won the argument. It is about what happens when grief, fame, unresolved conflict, and social media collide before the truth has time to emerge. Strategically, every person involved reacted differently. Offset chose repetition and distance. He denied the allegation, avoided escalating the feud, and refused to attach himself publicly to the homicide investigation. That approach protected him from making claims he could not support, even though it did not stop his name from being recycled. Chrisean faced a more complicated challenge. She attempted to respond to grief, defend her child, address family conflict, and reject affair rumors at the same time. Because her communication changed from silence to emotional reflection and direct denial, critics treated every shift as suspicious. Her experience shows why public figures need consistency, verified documentation, and careful boundaries when serious allegations begin spreading. Blueface's repeated revival of old accusations may have kept attention high. But attention is not resolution. Repeating an allegation without publicly verified evidence can deepen conflict, damage families, and distract from the issue that actually matters. A young man lost his life, and the people who loved him still deserve answers. The greatest strategic failure came from the internet itself. Millions of viewers combined unrelated events, treated timing as proof, and transformed speculation into a public verdict. But suspicion cannot replace evidence. A viral theory cannot replace an investigation. And controversy in someone's past does not prove responsibility for a crime. The human lesson is simple. Children should not become weapons in adult conflicts. Grief should not become entertainment. And unresolved pain should not be turned into profit at the expense of truth. Ronnie's memory deserves dignity. Chrisean and her family deserve space to heal without unsupported accusations. Offset, Cardi B, and Blueface should be judged by verified actions rather than recycled rumors. Most importantly, anyone with credible information should provide it to the proper authorities instead of using it for clout. Peace does not come from winning the loudest argument. It comes from accountability, patience, compassion, and the courage to wait for facts. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who believes truth should always matter more than rumors. Comment 1 if you believe social media needs to stop turning tragedy into entertainment. Or comment 2 if you think public pressure can sometimes help reveal hidden facts.